The streets of New York City are often a theater of the unexpected, where the grandeur of towering skyscrapers contrasts sharply with the silent struggles of those who tread its sidewalks. Amid this whirlwind of humanity, there was a young boy named Aaron. Barely 10 years old, Aaron had already experienced more loss than most endure in a lifetime. He was an orphan, a small figure wrapped in an oversized jacket, his hands often tucked into its deep pockets, not for warmth but to clutch the few treasures he had managed to save: a photograph of his mother, a tiny wooden car his father had carved, and a crumpled dollar bill he refused to spend. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Aaron spent his days wandering the city, invisible to most, surviving on the kindness of strangers or the occasional sandwich salvaged from a trash bin. Yet, even in his dire circumstances, Aaron possessed an uncanny curiosity. He observed the world with wide eyes, noticing details others overlooked: the rhythm of a pigeon's wingbeat, the hurried shuffle of a stockbroker's polished shoes, or the way sunlight bounced off the golden facade of Trump Tower. It was Trump Tower that fascinated Aaron the most, not because of its grandeur, but because of the man it represented: Donald Trump. Aaron had heard bits and pieces about Trump from newspapers he found discarded in subway stations and snippets of conversation among passers-by. Trump was a man of power and wealth, a symbol of success in a world where Aaron often felt left behind. But what intrigued Aaron wasn't the man's riches. It was the idea that someone could start from somewhere and become so significant, larger than life. In Aaron's mind, Trump was both a figure of mystery and a glimmer of hope. One chilly November afternoon, Aaron stood outside Trump Tower, craning his neck to take in the building's full height. The golden letters of Trump glinted against the fading sunlight, and Aaron wondered what it would be like to meet the man whose name adorned the skyscraper. Driven by a mix of curiosity and desperation, he lingered near the revolving doors, hoping to catch a glimpse of Donald Trump himself. Security guards occasionally cast wary glances his way, but Aaron was harmless. A wiry kid with a mop of unkempt hair and eyes that shone with a blend of mischief and longing. By sheer coincidence, or perhaps fate, Donald Trump arrived at the tower that evening. Flanked by his security detail, he stepped out of a sleek black SUV, his overcoat billowing slightly in the wind. Aaron's heart raced as he saw Trump stride toward the entrance, his presence commanding attention even in the bustling chaos of Manhattan. Summoning every ounce of courage, Aaron darted forward, slipping past the startled guards. "Mr. Trump! Mr. Trump!" Aaron called out, his voice breaking but resolute. Trump paused, turning his head toward the sound. His sharp eyes scanned the boy, taking in the tattered jacket and dirt-smudged face. The guards moved to intercept Aaron, but Trump held up a hand, signaling them to stand down. He crouched slightly to meet Aaron's gaze, a flicker of curiosity softening his usual stern expression. "What's your name, kid?" Trump asked, his tone surprisingly gentle. "Aaron," the boy replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "What are you doing out here, Aaron?" Aaron hesitated, clutching the edge of his jacket. "I wanted to meet you. People say you're the most important man in the city. Maybe you can help me." Trump tilted his head, intrigued by the boy's boldness. "Help you? With what?" Aaron swallowed hard, the weight of his reality pressing down on him. "I don't have a home. I don't have anyone. I thought maybe someone like you would know what to do." For a moment, Trump said nothing, his expression unreadable. Then he straightened, glancing at his security team. "Bring him inside." The guards exchanged uncertain looks but obeyed, ushering Aaron into the warmth of Trump Tower. The gilded lobby sparkled under crystal chandeliers, a stark contrast to the boy's threadbare clothes. Aaron's eyes widened as he took in the opulence, but he stayed close to Trump, his small hand brushing against the older man's coat as if afraid this moment might vanish like a dream. Trump led Aaron to a private lounge where they sat across from each other. A staff member brought Aaron a plate of sandwiches and a glass of milk, which he devoured with an eagerness that betrayed his hunger. Trump watched him in silence, his mind working through the situation. This was not part of his routine. He was a man used to deals and negotiations, not rescuing stray children, and yet, there was something about Aaron, a raw honesty, a spark of determination that reminded Trump of his own early struggles long before the wealth and fame. "Tell me more about yourself," Trump said once Aaron had finished eating. Aaron hesitated, then began to share his story. He spoke of his parents, who had died in a car accident when he was 7, leaving him to bounce between foster homes before finally ending up on the streets. He spoke of the loneliness, the nights spent curled up in doorways, and the endless search for a place to belong. As Aaron talked, Trump listened intently, his usually impassive demeanor softening. "You know," Trump said when Aaron finished, "I wasn't always where I am today. I had to work hard, make tough choices, and take risks. But I had people who believed in me. Everyone needs someone to believe in them." Aaron looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. "Do you think I could be like you someday?" Trump leaned back in his chair, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Why not? You've got guts coming up to me like that. And you're not afraid to ask for help? That's a good start." What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. Trump made a phone call to his charitable foundation, instructing them to find Aaron a safe place to stay and enroll him in school. But he didn't stop there. Over the following weeks, Trump took a personal interest in Aaron's well-being. He arranged for tutors to help Aaron catch up on his education, introduced him to mentors, and even invited him to attend business meetings as an observer. Aaron soaked up every moment like a sponge, eager to learn from the man who had become his unlikely benefactor. Under Trump's guidance, he discovered a talent for public speaking and a knack for solving problems. Trump often teased him, calling him Little CEO, a nickname that Aaron wore with pride. Years passed and Aaron grew into a confident young man. With Trump's support, he attended college, majoring in business administration. But Aaron never forgot where he came from or the man who had given him a chance when no one else would. After graduating, he founded a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping homeless youth, providing them with the resources and opportunities they needed to build better lives. At the launch event for Aaron's organization, he invited Trump to be the keynote speaker. Standing on stage, Aaron introduced Trump with a heartfelt speech, recounting their first meeting and the impact it had on his life. When Trump took the podium, he was uncharacteristically emotional. "Helping Aaron was one of the best decisions I've ever made," Trump said, his voice steady but filled with conviction. "This young man is proof that with a little help and a lot of determination, anyone can overcome their circumstances." Aaron didn't just rise above his challenges, he's now lifting others with him. That's what success truly means. The audience erupted into applause, but Aaron and Trump exchanged a quiet smile, a shared understanding passing between them. Their journey together had been unexpected, a chance encounter that changed both their lives in profound ways. Aaron had found not just a mentor, but a believer, someone who saw his potential when the world only saw a lost boy. And in Aaron, Trump found a reminder of the power of compassion and the lasting impact of taking a chance on someone. Aaron's nonprofit organization, aptly named The Bridge, became a beacon of hope for homeless and at-risk youth across New York City. Unlike other charities, The Bridge was designed with a unique focus on mentorship. It didn't just provide shelter or food, it connected young people with professionals from various industries who could guide them toward their dreams. Aaron insisted that the organization approach every child as a potential future leader, artist, or innovator. He often said, "Every kid who walks through these doors has something to offer the world. Our job is to help them find it." To ensure the success of his mission, Aaron threw himself into the gritty details of running the organization. He pored over budgets late into the night, negotiated fiercely for grants and donations, and personally oversaw the intake process for every new child who came to the Bridge. His energy seemed boundless, but Aaron knew that if the organization was going to scale and sustain itself, he needed to expand his reach and influence beyond New York. It was around this time that Donald Trump made another surprising move. Though his initial act of kindness had been personal, Trump now saw Aaron's work as something that aligned with his broader philanthropic interests. He invited Aaron to several high-profile events, introducing him to politicians, business leaders, and celebrities. At first, Aaron felt out of place in these glittering circles, but Trump gave him advice that stuck. "Don't think about who you're meeting. Think about who you're helping. Talk about your mission, not yourself." With that in mind, Aaron became a powerful advocate for his cause. At a charity gala hosted at Mar-a-Lago, he spoke with such passion that attendees pledged millions of dollars on the spot to fund the bridge's expansion. One of those in the audience was a renowned entrepreneur, Maria Alton. who later approached Aaron with a proposal to develop a mobile app that would connect homeless youth with local resources in real time. The app, aptly named Haven, was launched within a year and became a game changer, allowing thousands of young people across the country to access critical help at the touch of a button. As the bridge grew, so did Aaron's personal aspirations. He began to see his nonprofit work not just as a charitable mission, but as part of a broader fight for systemic change. He realized that homelessness and poverty were not just individual problems. They were deeply rooted in policies, economics, and societal attitudes that often turned a blind eye to the vulnerable. Aaron started speaking at conferences and forums, advocating for affordable housing, better education for underprivileged children, and reforms to the foster care system. His speeches were electric, blending his personal story with a clear vision for a more just society. One day, during a televised panel discussion on urban poverty, Aaron was asked by a host if he ever considered running for public office. He laughed nervously, brushing off the question, but the idea planted itself in his mind. Was it possible that the boy who had once slept in doorways could someday influence the policies shaping the very streets he had walked? Aaron's hesitation wasn't born of doubt in his abilities. He had long since proved to himself that he was capable of greatness. Rather, he worried that entering the political arena might dilute his work at the bridge. Politics, after all, was a world fraught with compromise and partisanship, a far cry from the hands-on approach that had defined his life thus far. Still, the thought lingered, and as he continued to advocate for change, he began to wonder if perhaps his voice could be even louder in the halls of power. It was Donald Trump who ultimately pushed Aaron to consider the leap. Over dinner one evening, Trump asked him bluntly, "What are you afraid of? Losing? Let me tell you something. Losing is just part of the game. But if you don't play, you can't win." Aaron mulled over those words for weeks, discussing the possibility with his mentors and closest confidants. Ultimately, he decided to take the plunge, not because he wanted power or recognition, but because he believed that his lived experience gave him a perspective sorely lacking in government. He announced his candidacy for New York City Council at the age of 26, becoming one of the youngest candidates in the city's history. The campaign trail was grueling. Aaron faced skepticism from seasoned politicians and relentless scrutiny from the media. Opponents dismissed him as a charity kid with no real understanding of governance. But Aaron leaned into his story, framing it as a testament to resilience and the power of community. He walked the neighborhoods he once called home, knocking on doors and speaking directly with voters. His platform focused on housing reform, youth programs, and equitable education funding, all of which resonated deeply with working-class families. Trump, true to form, threw his weight behind Aaron's campaign in an unexpected way. Though Trump's political affiliations often clashed with Aaron's progressive ideals, he admired the young man's tenacity and heart. "This kid's the real deal," Trump declared during an interview, prompting a media frenzy. The endorsement was polarizing, but it drew attention to Aaron's campaign in a way nothing else could have. Election night was a nail-biter. As the results trickled in, Aaron and his team crowded around a small television in their modest campaign headquarters. When the final numbers were announced, a roar of triumph erupted. Aaron had won by a slim margin, proving that his message of hope and change had resonated with voters. As a city councilman, Aaron wasted no time making his mark. He championed a groundbreaking initiative to convert abandoned buildings into affordable housing units and secured funding for after-school programs in underserved neighborhoods. His bold approach earned him both praise and criticism, but Aaron never shied away from the tough fights. He often told his colleagues, "If we're not here to challenge the status quo, what's the point?" While Aaron's political career soared, the bridge continued to thrive under the leadership of a new executive director handpicked by Aaron himself, a former mentee who had also risen through the program. Together, they expanded the organization's reach to other cities, including Los Angeles, Chicago, and Atlanta. Aaron remained deeply involved, often visiting local branches and mentoring new staff. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on the orphan following Donald Trump in this story? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.